Hello, Mr. Montalvo here, U.S. History. Today today we'll be focusing on Unit 3, Lesson 2, Day 3, and wrapping up our conversation on the principles of the Constitution, taking an in-depth look. And today we're going to take a look at the Constitution as what it's known as a living document. Our objective for today is to identify the individual rights of citizens that are protected by the Bill of Rights, a very important portion of the Constitution. So, calling the Constitution a living document means that it can be interpreted and amended in different ways to keep up with the times. At home, in the town squares, Americans discussed the Constitution. Many people supported it. Many others did not. The convention was over. Now the states had to decide whether or not to ratify this new Constitution. The Constitution was sent to George Washington for his examination. He encouraged Congress to support the plan. In order for the document to be ratified, signed, or approved, 9 of the 13 states had to agree with it. In every state, there were debates over the Constitution. New York and Virginia were among the last to ratify the Constitution, and 2 of the biggest key players in the debate. Now, a quote from George Washington: "The preservation of the sacred fire of liberty and the destiny of the Republican model of government are stalked on the experiment entrusted to the hands of the American people." Most often, what the government that takes place and takes shape after the American Revolution is often referred to as an experiment. Now, we have to understand that there was no model that they were following. They kind of took pieces of various ideas of democracy, of republicanism, to combine this idea of a democratic representative democracy, the first of its kind. Now, people that supported the Constitution were known as Federalists. Anti-Federalists were against the Constitution because it did not have a Bill of Rights. An early Anti-Federalist position, pro-civil liberties and pro-farming, calling for an agricultural economy rather than a manufacturing economy. This group was primarily led by Thomas Jefferson, who himself was a prominent anti-federalist. Now, in Lesson 1, we discussed the Federalists, the group involved in promoting the acceptance of the ideas in the Constitution, promoting its ratification. The Anti-Federalists were the counter group. The group focused on trying to still secure states' rights and also, according to them, securing individual rights. Now, the purpose of this Bill of Rights was to protect the individual, the rights of the individual. Now, the first 10 amendments are known as the Bill of Rights. That's the document that's attached to the Constitution. So anytime you hear Bill of Rights, we're discussing the first 10 amendments to the Constitution, which would spell out individual liberties, liberties being another word for rights. You can also hear the word freedoms as well. They're all interchangeable, they're synonymous with each other. It makes it clear that the powers granted to the federal government come from the people. That concept, that idea of popular sovereignty, the Constitution starts with the idea, we the people, right? That's the consent of the governed. That's where the government gets its power. The Bill of Rights continues that promise to the American people, all the while dealing with, and this the purpose of the Declaration of Independence, to address the concerns of the coming of a tyrannical ruler or group of people who would abuse the power that from the people. By 1790, the last state of Rhode Island approved their constitution. The people the Constitution. The people celebrate in festive parades and parties all throughout the new United States. Now let's take a look at these Bill of Rights. Now the first, Congress shall make no laws respecting an establishment of religion, prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech or of the press, the right for the people to assemble, and to petition the government for a redress of grievances. So here we see a lot of our most basic rights: freedom of the press, freedom of religion, freedom of expression, and most importantly, the freedom to assemble. Many of these addressing the same concerns that were addressed in that second part of the Declaration of Independence penned by Thomas Jefferson, where they attack the abuses of the king and parliament. Amendment 2, a well-regulated militia being necessary for the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and to bear arms shall not be infringed. The right to bear arms, the right to protect, even though each state now has various adaptations, regulations regarding arms, regarding weapons, firearms in particular. This is the security of that right. Amendment 3, no soldier shall in the time of peace be quartered in any house without the consent of the owner, nor in the time of war, but in the manner to be prescribed by the law. Once again, hitting some of those major concerns from the American Revolution. We see those promises fulfilled to the people here in the Bill of Rights. Amendment 4, the right of the people to secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated, and no warrant shall be issued but upon probable cause, supported by oath of affirmation, and particularly describing the place to be searched and the person or things to be seized. This protects us from illegal search and seizure. If your person, your body, or your property, your home, your car, are to be searched, not only do they have to have probable cause, aka a reason to go in, but in addition to that, being very specific on where and when and what can be searched. The Fifth Amendment, no person shall be held to answer for a capital or otherwise infamous crime unless a presentment or indictment of a grand jury, except in the cases of arising the land or naval forces or in the militia when in actual service in the time of war or public danger. Nor shall any person be subject for the same offense to be twice put in jeopardy of life and limb. So this secures us from self-incrimination. So if you ever heard someone say, I plead the fifth, this is what they're discussing. In addition to that, the Fifth Amendment discusses the fact that you have the security against double jeopardy. So if you have already been acquitted of a crime, you cannot be charged with that same crime that you already found innocent of. The Sixth Amendment, in all criminal prosecutions, the accused shall enjoy the right to a speedy trial by an impartial jury. The securing of a jury of their peers, people your age bracket, in order to determine whether you are guilty or not. This provides us that guarantee to a trial by jury. One infused by a lot of the complaints during the American Revolution, but also dating all the way back to the Magna Carta, which secures that right to a trial by jury as well. The Seventh Amendment, in suits at common law where the value in the controversy shall exceed $20, the right of a trial by jury shall be preserved, and no fact tried by a jury shall be otherwise re-examined in any court of the United States than according to the rule of common law. 8, excessive bail shall not be required, nor excessive fine imposed, nor cruel or unusual punishment inflicted. This is what guarantees us to the protection of cruel and unusual punishment, even if someone is convicted of a crime. The Ninth Amendment, The enumeration in the Constitution of certain rights shall be constructed to deny or disparage others restrained by the people. And Amendment 10, the powers not delegated to the United States by the Constitution nor prohibited by it to the states are reserved to the states respectively or to the people. That idea that there are certain rights that are reserved to the states, aka states' rights. If it is not mentioned in the Constitution, the states are the ones that are able to provide those. And we kind of discussed those in day 2 and day 1 of this lesson. And I just want to share credit where credit is due. This was produced by the Bill of Rights Institute. I will link this PDF in the website below. Now, in order to close, I will link an analysis. This is part 3 of that 3-part series. With day 1, it was part 1. With day 2, part 2. And now day 3, part 3. Taking a look at the Bill of Rights with an in-depth analysis, 2 questions, taking a deeper look, in addition to a written task. So we discussed in lesson 1 the Federalist Papers. There were 85 of them. Now, this task proposes you to write a Federalist Paper number 86. So that next Federalist Paper convincing the ratification, pro-ratification of this new Constitution. So it's a pretty creative task that goes along with what you've done in parts 1, 2, and 3. So make sure you have that in front of you as well, because that will help with the production of this. In addition to that, there is a CRQ set, constructive response questions, documents with a couple of questions attached to them. That is also linked here as well. And your exit ticket for today, just taking a look at trying to explain how the Constitution is a living document. What does that mean? Is it still relevant today? That's what we kind of try to do with these exit tickets. What does it mean that the Constitution is a living document? That's it for today. Thank you so much for your time, and I hope to see you soon.